big Monumental 100 coming up soon. We're in Arizona this week. We're on the road show doing the Proppy tour. Everyone's talking NFTs, tech. Everyone's talking title, crypto, you name it. So really exciting. It's the one rainy day in Phoenix, I think, ever. So it's feels like it's about 10 degrees out. It's the coldest day. It's like a warm summer day in San Francisco. I got Kyle Keller with me. I've got my buddy Matt Linder. These guys know crypto, they know technology, and surprise, they sell a lot of houses, which is our favorite thing. Is realtors who know the space and actually sell a lot of houses and merge the two together. Trust in me when I tell you they sell a lot of houses, they know the space. I'm not gonna do a big long intro, but I want to start with you, Kyle. You were at an NFT conference here locally yesterday. I couldn't make it with you. I would love to have geeked out with you and met some of those NFT guys. Tell us what your thoughts were on the NFT conference, and did they do any talk about real estate, or was it mostly the digital art side?
Yes, so I was out at, it was called NFT Connect in Mesa. And it was actually their first inaugural event that they're putting on, and they're actually going to do it all across the US. And I would say there was a lot of different groups of people there. There were, creators, there was artists, developers, and basically, it was like most real estate seminars where they have a panel of people and, different people from different industries kind of sharing their expertise. Not a ton of talk about real estate and NFTs, but there was some talk about it. And then there's also talk about land in the metaverse. So that is a thing. People are buying land in the metaverse right now.
Yeah, well, one of our crypto certified agents up in the Northeast he's the #1 metaverse realtor. I about said in the country, in the world, but I guess it'd be in the metaverse. I haven't talked to him about it, but I want to qualify, as that transactions, that unit sold, is that GCI, is that volume, but I haven't. So was there anything neat, interesting from that conference that you thought maybe the people listening live would want to hear about?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, right now, most of the NFTs are profile pictures, right? 10,000 profile picture projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club, punks, a lot of different things. But, I would say that we're at the beginning stages of this NFT revolution, and essentially everything is going to end up being, an NFT, right? Your home that you buy is going to be an NFT. One of the things that somebody brought up was, think of it like this, NFT stands for non-fungible token, right? Which means that no two NFTs are the same if it's a ERC 721 token. And, but one lady described it like this, that each of us as humans are an NFT, right? We are unique individuals. No two people are the exact same. We all have a social security number, essentially, right? Or some kind of number associated with us. So, we are a unique NFT, essentially. So like social security, that's going to be like an NFT at some point. Real estate, probably health records, anything. So it's kind of a new frontier, what people are trying to create right now. A lot of ideas too are royalties, where you can sell an NFT, and then every time it sells, you end up getting a percentage. Also talk about doing that in real estate. If you had an NFT and you sell your property, and then every time that property sells, if you made an extra 1%, every time it's sold in the future, that'd be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, there's a delicate balance between royalty fee and too much that they would just burn the NFT, but not enough they might not burn it and just keep giving that royalty back to the original minter, so to speak.
Right.
That's cool, Kyle. Wish I could have went. I find the NFT process, I find the confusion around NFTs really interesting. I find the disinformation around NFTs interesting. I find I wouldn't say anger towards the NFT crowd, the right click and savers of the world. I find their emotional response sometimes interesting. I have a son who just drives me crazy because he keeps talking about how NFTs are dumb. And I said, you don't really understand them. Really, there is it's more than just this digital art, these guys who buy these Bored Apes. But I think the NFT space is being pigeonholed so much with the media or otherwise kind of into these profile pics that it's much bigger than that. And I just don't think people see the breadth of it. Obviously you do.
Right.
And obviously a lot of the property followers because of the NFT last week. But we did a lot of media this week. Really smart people, I mean, really intelligent people who were asking questions like, so you paid for the house with an NFT? And you're like, NFT is not a currency, and they really didn't understand it. So, but people don't want to hear me talk about it. Matt, tell me, what is your experience with NFTs? What should we be buying next? What are you into in terms of your collection?
Yeah, so I really like the way you just described how everyone's an NFT with the social security.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to use that. So yeah, I think right now it's kind of like the wild, wild west with the NFT. So I know of a lot of projects where people have been scammed. There was one where all the proceeds were supposed to go to like a animal shelter or something like that. And then the guy just ended up changing his mind and he kept all the money. So I don't really have a lot of NFTs. I got in with the crypto space, mostly with Bitcoin, but I think the opportunity for the use of them with, I see music, art, being some of the bigger ones that they're starting to use it right now. But yeah, it's interesting with the property with the house doing the NFT. So I think there's tons of use and opportunity with it for sure.
Yeah, we're excited about it. So Matt, tell me about your crypto kind of experience here in real estate. You tell me what part of Phoenix you work mostly and how much your buyers and sellers are interacting with crypto, or how much you're hearing about it from the field.
Yeah, I work the greater Phoenix area, a lot of the East Valley out here. And yeah, my group of friends and people I grew up with that are looking to buy their first home right now in the market, a lot of them have sold their Bitcoin, sold their crypto in order to buy their first home. And there's been some hangups with the lenders and trying to show where that money came from and trying to get the money, for down payment and all that stuff. So when I came across property and kind of the integration of that and a path forward to, pave the way for people to buy with crypto or, get a loan against it and these different avenues with it, that just made a ton of sense to me because I'm seeing it in real time with, friends and family that have gotten into crypto and are now wanting to leverage their crypto into real estate, hard asset, buy their first home. So I've definitely had a couple of different clients that have used their crypto to purchase. And I think property is just opening the door with, making that easier and more traditional going forward for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the big part of it, is as you go from fringe to more mainstream to traditional, I think it helps the entire process. I think NFTs and blockchains are really not a if, it's just when and how quickly and how they integrate and they make the transaction smoother and how much more smoother and, disintermediating what is a very mediated space. But before we get too deep down the real estate rabbit hole, Kyle, you've got one of the most interesting stories of CryptoPunks I've ever heard. I've heard it a couple times. I'd never get tired of hearing it. You want to share everybody your story about how you got your most famous NFT?
Yep. So I ended up winning a CryptoPunk, which I believe was the first ever CryptoPunk ever given away. And it was by a guy on Twitter named NFTs Anonymous. So you can look him up if you want. He has a project called Camp NFT. And what they did is they were selling 10,000 of these Camp NFT coins, and each coin that you bought was an entry into the giveaway, right? And so it was supposed to be 10,000 tokens. I ended up buying one token. I was number 469. And the sale was actually, or the giveaway was actually supposed to happen that same day. And so at only 469 sold, I figured that, that's a pretty good opportunity for me. Now, if it goes to 10,000, I don't know. I heard on Twitter that he was going to be doing the giveaway no matter how many sold. As soon as I found that out, I ended up buying a second one, which was number 870. And it ended up being the number 870. My second coin that I bought was the winner. They only ended actually selling around 2,000 tokens in total. So, I mean, I felt pretty good having a, 1 in 2,000 chance or 2 in 2,000 chance of winning a CryptoPunk. At the time when I won it, CryptoPunks were around 100 Ethereum for one. That was kind of the floor price. So, and at the time, Ethereum was around $4,000. So it was a huge win. Obviously, I still own it today. There was a lot of people on Twitter that were posting, how soon is Kyle going to sell this thing, in 1 hour and, 24 hours or a week. And I said, I'm not selling it right now. So I don't have any plans to sell it. I'm interested to see where it goes. The floor price is down a little bit from there, but the cool thing is the guy that I actually won it from was at the conference yesterday. And so I was able to meet him in person and thank him, had lunch and dinner with him. So it was really cool. We'll end up, having that one thing in history that kind of ties us together, but I don't think he's looking at giving away any more CryptoPunks anytime soon.
Yeah, the thing you'll have in common is he gave you $500,000 worth of free stuff.
Yeah. Now I did have
that. It's an interesting mindset, though. So one way to look at that is he could say to himself, "I just gave away $400,000 value to a complete stranger."
Right.
Or he could say, "I bought it for $1,000 3 or 4 years ago. I really only gave away $1,000 to a complete stranger." There's a lot of value in having the mindset of that second person. I think we all lean towards, "Holy shit, I just gave away $400,000 of value." But if you had the ability, the emotional maturity that I frankly don't have, if I'm being honest, to say, "Hey, I really only gave Kyle $1,000 investment that happened to, go up 4,000%." So there is some value to that. And so, I see people I talk to now and say, "Oh, the crypto market is so bad right now." And say on a macro level, it's actually quite good. And it's actually good if you want to get in. And so, but people always have this scarcity mindset, and some people have such an abundance mindset. And so there is a lot to that. I think the NFT market space right now might be a bit hot, but if you love that piece and if you love that group that comes with it, I think people that don't know the NFT world also underestimate how a lot of times when you buy a piece in an NFT collection, you're also becoming part of that club or that membership. You and I were talking at lunch, Kyle, the Bored Apes now are opening up an actual yacht club in Miami that if you are an owner, you can go down there and socialize, have fellowship. I think there is some value to the fellowship that comes part of that club. And I think a lot of people who aren't in there and aren't in those Discord chats, those Twitter conversations, I saw a tremendous amount of people that were on Twitter and social media talking about how excited they were for ETH Denver because, a lot of coders and a lot of tech people, they do love the fellowship because they don't get it maybe day to day because of COVID, because of travel, because of their inherent nature of the job. So they like the social aspect to it. So that's why I love guys like you and Matt, who are rubbing shoulders with homeowners every day, but you're also thinking about crypto, thinking about all these kind of next level, next generation type things. And that's why I think it's really interesting when realtors can kind of bring the two together.
I think there just needs to be.
Matt, I know you and I talked last night about the NFT sale a lot. We kind of walked through it. When you think about that process of the seller being able to kind of front load all of their work, and then the buyer coming in on auction, traditional sale, and buying that house, and the next day or the same day taking ownership and moving their furniture, or maybe they put their contractor in the next day. Like as a realtor, what gears does that start spinning in your mind?
Yeah, so I think when you look at most realtors, like advertisement and what value are they trying to bring to the table to the consumer? Obviously, they want to, if you're selling a home, you want to get them the highest price, but you also want to make it as easy as possible. So for me as a realtor, when I go meet with potential clients, one of the biggest things I always hear is, either that they hate the process, the amount of time and trying to time things up. They had a realtor where they had a bad experience. And I think the whole NFT aspect with getting everything done, having everything ready to go, really wipes a lot of that off the seller's plate, and makes it easier for both the buyer and the seller. Just straightforward. And then when we were talking yesterday, someone made a good point about when you go under contract with on a property, then you're having, your inspection done and all this stuff. And then, that's where you can fall out of escrow and everything. It makes so much more sense to me to have that all done up front. And then there's really no reason for it to ever fall out of escrow, because that's all right up front, taken care of, and kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of, the whole process. So that was a big, light bulb moment for me talking yesterday about it, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And then you think about if you're in a normal market where maybe you're on 30, 45, 60 days, you go under contract, somebody tries to be unrealistic during an inspection and you fall out. Now you're maybe 90, 85, 90 days on market. This market is, it's like Candyland. I mean, everything's fun. Everything shoots and ladders right now. You put your house up for sale, you got 12 offers, boom, boom, boom. It's, from a seller's perspective, this isn't real. And so, if you're looking at strategy and look at technology, you could say, hey, in this market, it's relevant, it works. But in a normal market where we've got, 4.5, 5 months absorption, like what does it look like when your time on market starts to normalize and rates come back to a place where, they dictate, that buyers not having such huge ranges to be able to kind of push that offer? I think that's where there's a lot of value. I do think coming out of this market, I think the contingent offer is dead. I think there's so many companies now that are willing to front money for a lot of different ways on the centralized market, the DeFi market. But I think this contingent offer that we're used to doing 3 or 4 years ago is probably on its last legs. However, I think the NFT model from a real estate perspective is really, really interesting because it gives full transparency as a buyer. And if I'm a seller, I know that your wallet has funds there. I know that you've seen the comp analysis, you've seen the appraisal, you've seen the inspection report. It brings a level of transparency to the process that I don't think we've ever seen before. So if you're a homeowner and you go to auction, let's just use the auction model, and you get to see all the auction bids in real time. So from a realtor perspective, the transparency can only be good for all of us, and it's definitely good for the homeowner. Kyle, I went on a soapbox there a little bit. What are your thoughts? And you are more nuanced in NFTs than most people, certainly more than me. What do you think it relates to in terms of real estate? What is your kind of big vision of it? And how do we as real estate professionals stay involved to keep bringing value to make sure homeowners are getting the best value?
Yep. I think, right now in our market, we only have about 0.6 months of inventory right now. Here in the market. And then also I did a search today of, basically single family homes in Maricopa County. So not including Pinal County, but single family homes, no condos or townhomes or anything. And there's only like 2,500 homes on the market right now. So I think we're going to continue to see a shortage of inventory for quite some time until, more inventory hits the market. I know, with rates rising, it is kind of getting some buyers off the fence. Getting them to jump on a little bit sooner than they would have when they start seeing rates rise. But, I do like the aspect of being able to buy a home, with an NFT or as an NFT, right? And then essentially your title and everything associated with the property is on the blockchain, right? Showing that you are the owner. Having everything done up front does eliminate a lot of problems. No people, backing out of the inspection, no deals falling through because the appraisal comes in low. Same thing with buyers financing. You already know that they have the inventory on the market. Well, with the financing, I mean, you know that they can qualify for the mortgage if they get one. You know, that's the other thing is, like Matt was talking about, if a buyer does have crypto, say they have Bitcoin or Ethereum, they can get a loan, you know, against your Bitcoin or Ethereum, that your crypto that you have, instead of having to sell it. So I think that's going to be huge once that becomes more mainstream. But, you know, essentially we're on the front end of this, right? Property just sold the first ever home in the United States as an NFT. So, you know, it's not like there's thousands of them being sold already. It's really, you know, we're at the beginning of this. So it's going to be interesting, but that's what I love about it. I love being, you know, on the front end of things and learning all the time. So, you know, it's the agents and consumers that are, you know, wanting to learn all the time and understand this. I mean, I really would recommend that anybody start, you know, buy some Ethereum, buy some Bitcoin. It can only be $100. You know, you don't have to spend thousands on crypto, but at least buy some so you understand the process. You understand where to buy it from. You understand how to, you know, send it back to somebody. If you don't understand that, you know, it's very hard to kind of talk to your client through a process like that, right? So I would try to educate yourself as much as possible.
I have a quick question for you, Kyle.
Yeah.
With your NFT that you won, do you get any perks or exclusive access to gatherings or anything like that? Because that's an aspect of the NFT stuff that I find real intriguing.
Yep. So like Adam was talking about, you know, when you do buy an NFT, some of these projects, right, you're essentially buying into a membership. And so like at Art Basel, I went to in Miami in December with my wife, and they actually had a Bored Ape Yacht Club event. I do own one of the mutant apes. And so that is also, you know, a member of the Bored Ape community. And so I was able to get in. It's a much cheaper price than the original ape projects, but I was able to get into the party by showing that I was actually the owner of one of the mutant apes. So, you know, there are some real life benefits to, you know, having that membership. And one thing me and Adam were talking about is, you know, there's also going to be where you can rent out your NFT. So let's say, Matt, you wanted to go to NFT NYC in New York coming up in June, and you wanted to get into the mutant ape, you know, Bored Ape Yacht Club party, but you didn't have one. I could rent you one of mine. You could rent it from me, let's say for $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it is. You get to go enjoy the party, you know, shows that is in your wallet, and that's how you get in. And then once the party's over, the NFT would come back to me. So that's a pretty interesting, you know, thing that's coming down the pipe. And then with my punk, I do have access to the Discord channel for verified punk owners. And, you know, there's a lot of business that goes back and forth between, you know, individuals that are in that community. So, you know, it's like with everything, everybody wants to kind of do business with like-minded people. And it's just one more aspect that people have in common, you know, with these different NFTs that bring people together. It's pretty cool to see.
It feels like the punks are like the OGs of NFTs. Like that group is like the early onboarders, investment tech people. Like if you look across the landscape, that's like the OG. And then Bored Ape kind of sprung up after that, and that's kind of gotten more of a cult-like celebrity following. They've done an amazing job with PR.
Yep.
So we had a couple questions on chat that I think were really interesting. You know, if you think about NFTs and smart contracts and the ability to build that NFT, or even if you call it like a really elaborate smart contract, you know, Kyle on the chat brought up, you know, what if you're a builder? You built that house and you had everything from all the VINs to the exact specs of all your appliances, how the house is built. I'm just spitballing here, the blueprints, you know, if you were ever to upgrade, maybe some other blueprints had add-ons, how they were done, like all the things that from the jump buildings perspective to have, that'd be interesting to have that rolled into the NFT. And you and I talked about this a little bit, Kyle, but I want to ask Matt, you know, from a builder's perspective, it feels like the thing that they should do is create these smart contracts and NFTs and put them in the price of the house. And then that way, every time the house is resold, if the royalty was equitable, it'd stay. But also maybe have the HOA or some things built into that NFT that the house would stay within that NFT. That way, when it was sold, it would kind of transfer. There's a lot of things that we can do with that. And real quick, we even did our upcoming NFT it's an investment property that has the lease built into the smart contract. Like, if you think about a builder on a golf course, maybe Royalty, the golf club membership is part of that NFT, so it can't be burnt. But every time that house is sold, the original developer / builder. As you think about this process, what are your thoughts, Matt? Although that question was more of a long statement, but give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where everything's going to eventually end up going. And I think just hearing like being able to rent the NFT out, like I've never even thought of that before. That's just blows my mind with all the different things you can do with it. So yeah, I think there's a lot of creative ways to build that in, and yeah, the builders, bake that in with different things with HOA, or maybe it's on a country club. Like there's a community out here called Seville, and they have their own country club out there. So I could see, them integrating, that into an NFT type thing that way too. So, I mean, the ideas are limitless with the way you can construct that and everything. So I think that's where it's definitely headed for sure.
Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Matt, with like you said, in Seville, you have the country club and everything. Essentially, if they did have your membership as an NFT, right? So maybe the house isn't an NFT yet, but the country club is, and you were renting it out to somebody, you could end up renting out your NFT, your membership NFT to your renter, right? And then now they can actually use the club. So there's so many things that are coming that we can't even fathom right now is what NFTs are going to do. It's really cool. And then the same thing, there's a thing called, I think it's called chain link verification. And basically that's how I ended up getting my CryptoPunk was, they did a random, they put all the numbers in and do a random number generator. And then as soon as that number actually hit, the contract triggered the distribution of the punk. So when I actually won it, I asked him, wait, hey, when am I going to get this thing? Are you going to send it to me, or how am I going to get it? And he said, it's already in your wallet. And so I actually went on, opened up my wallet, and it was sitting in there. So it wasn't like, it didn't allow him to change his mind, right? Like, you know what? I don't want to do it. I changed my mind. As soon as that thing went, it executed the contract and, ended up in my wallet. So that's the cool thing with the smart contracts is you don't have people, as soon as you have somebody agree to something, right? You have two parties agree, that contract is written. And once that happens, it executes flawlessly, right? You don't have, people that are going to come in and stop it from happening.
Yeah, that's the thing about smart contracts that, think of the dominoes. Think of those dominoes as that it starts off, they can branch out to multiple places and they all happen instantly. And so you click one thing to execute the contract when it's done. And it's not just linear, it can go to multiple things. Like that lease is a good example. Now that lease ownership is the new owners. The LLC ownership is the new owners. Maybe there was an HOA or a country club membership involved. That's a different offshoot or different tree of the limb of the tree that then goes in different ways. And they're instant. And there's no intermediation. And right. I feel like I get on a soapbox a little bit with real estate, but we've intentionally intermediated the business so much that it's become convoluted to the point that it's laborsome and laborious and Byzantine. And the distributed ledger and the ability to do those things in a meaningful way, it is impactful. I was talking to a gentleman here in Phoenix today. His big selling point is, he can close on a house, and he's quite proud of this. He guarantees within 30 days because he has relationships with the lender. He may even own the lender. I don't know how it works. But think about that. He's bragging about closing on a piece of property in 30 days, but we can go down the street and buy a $500,000 car with a stroke of a check, or with, signing a piece of paper and being in and out in 15 minutes. But a $200,000 house, or it doesn't matter the price of the house, takes 45 to 60 days. That's intermediated to the point of our own defeat. And if you look at title and escrow and how many people touch a deal, if you look at municipalities and how challenging it's become. I read a thing that builders, people assume they're facing shortages because of labor and labor costs, which is true, and supplies. A lot of it is issue permitting in municipalities. They just don't have the headcount to do it because it's so archaic. And that's not good for anyone. It's not good for the homeowner. It's not good for the real estate community. And it's just not good for any of us. Let me spin it a little bit. I've been in Phoenix all week. We've been here a couple times in the last couple months. It's an interesting city. It's really big, physically big. I think, Kyle, you were telling me it's the largest city and the largest capital of any capital in terms of physical mass.
Well, that was Dave.
I don't know if I've ever seen a city that's not landlocked that has so much appreciation. Matt, I think what is the appreciation? You told me we're up 32% year over year. Matt, I'll pick on you because it's not an easy question to answer. How do you navigate when you're working with buyers and you're looking at a 3.2 that might have been 280 that's now 410? How do you navigate that? How does that conversation go?
Yeah, it's definitely a conversation that you got to have. I have a couple buyers that have been looking for the past 2 years, and that's exactly what they're looking at. A house that was $350 a year or two ago is now $500,000. But they need a place to live. And so it's super competitive. The prices have shot way up, but I try to be transparent with them and tell them, hey, you're going to have to come in, put in a super strong offer. You're probably going to have to put in a couple different offers, and you might have to lower your expectations a little bit. If it looks like Chip and Joanna Gaines went in there and there's shiplap on the wall and stuff, well, there's probably going to be about 50 offers on that house. So we might want to look at something that needs a little work. So the expectations of what they're looking for, have definitely changed. But it's crazy out here. So I think we were Phoenix was like the seventh highest appreciation or something like that. I just saw in the top 10 for sure. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely crazy out there. That is for sure.
Kyle, so I'll turn it around a little bit on you, Kyle. How much of a luxury is it when you get somebody who wants to list their house? Are their expectations reasonable? Are they staying within that normalcy rate? Are they just saying, hey, I want to triple what it's really worth and I want all cash and I want to close tomorrow? From a sell side, is it just all shoots and ladders and Candyland, or are there challenges on that side?
No, I think, like Matt talked about, it's mainly, setting up expectations, right? So, when we do meet with sellers, we do go over the comparable comps in the neighborhood and show them what homes are selling for. Some people want to, start higher than others, but, right now we're seeing multiple offers on properties. We're seeing people bidding above the list price. The main thing that you have to be careful about is making sure that the property appraises, right? So if it's a $500,000 house, yeah, you can ask $1 million for it. But at the end of the day, if it's a financing offer, the property has to appraise for the sales price. So, you could eventually end up down the road 2-3 weeks off the market and end up having the property not appraised and have to go back on the market. There are some buyers that are waiving the appraisal. Some buyers are making up an appraisal gap difference. So let's say the property doesn't appraise, for the total sales price, but there's a $30,000 appraisal gap. Maybe they're willing to cover 15,000 of it, right? So that's something that we negotiate during the, escrow process and right before we go under contract. So one thing I wanted to mention real quick was one of the questions, there's two of them actually. One was somebody was asking about crypto and NFTs in, real estate investments. And Adam, I think I had told you about that one company. There's a company called Lofty AI. And what that is it's a company that is buying properties, rental properties, and then they're selling the properties through, you can actually invest in the property for as little as $50. It's on the Algorand blockchain. And so you can buy Algo, and then basically you can invest in a property for as little as $50. So that's a pretty cool thing. You actually get daily rent. So if anybody's interested, you can look up Lofty AI. I can send out an email that I'm getting. So they do come out with opportunities all the time, but it makes it, real estate investing, something that gives normal people ability to be able to get into a rental property when maybe they don't have $50,000 to put a, down payment on a property, right? So that's a good thing. And then one other question was people were worried about, like, let's say you do have your home as an NFT in your wallet, and somehow somebody gets your seed phrase, you click on an email, drains your wallet, and you essentially lose your home NFT. That is also a concern of mine that I haven't gotten answered yet. What I'd like to think is that there's maybe another copy of that NFT that, maybe a title company or something holds, that, everything is on the blockchain. So you could see where that NFT went. But, right now, if you don't have your closing documents, you can talk to the title company. They can pull that up, right? It's county record. But if it's all on the blockchain and it's in an NFT and somebody's, gets into your wallet somehow, that is a little disconcerting. So,
yeah, we've encountered that a little bit. So the cool thing about the way we set it up is you put the NFT as the ownership of a corporate structure, and then if someone was to take ownership of that corporate structure, you have enough paperwork and proof and evidence that, hey, this is actually ours and it was a scam. And people talk all the time about what if it gets hacked, what if it gets hacked, what if it gets hacked. But it's really, really not a great place to hack because everything is transparent. If I steal Bitcoin from Kyle, it basically says Adam stole that Bitcoin. Therefore, Adam's in the wrong, can be punished by law, and theoretically it has to give it back to Kyle. If you look at even some of the Ethereum hacks from 5-6 years ago that ended up, creating ETH Classic, they had to do a hard fork, but they knew who did it. So there is no hiding place with these transparencies. And that's the thing that we try to tell realtors all the time is a lot of this technology is bringing a lot of transparency to a business that needs transparency. And I think there'll always be use for title. Title will always be involved in real estate for oversight. There's no doubt about that. If you look at human nature, we put Coinbase and we put these exchanges back into the crypto world with no need of those because we like a bit of middleman, not having to worry about our passwords and our usernames and user fees. We intentionally decentralized finance a little bit, but we still want to have the ability to be autonomous, not have our accounts frozen or hacked. On a second note, the Lofty AI, I own several properties, Kyle. Okay. They're actually big in my neck of the woods. They're big in Cleveland. You'll see them in Illinois a lot. It's the 1% houses you can buy for 1% rent. Your rent is 1%. That 1% rule that all of you realtors know about better than I do. There are several actually in St. Louis, maybe 20, 30 miles from me. And so I've bought a few of those. There is something really interesting spending $100 or $50 and owning a piece of that house. The rent's not going to make you rich, but it really is interesting. I have teenage boys and I've showed them how. And so they love the fact that they can put $50 into a rental house. And if you think about from a global perspective, if you're investing on a macro level, maybe from out of the country where you have, incredible volatility and inflationary issues or government stability issues, you're going to put your money in something as stable as U.S. rentals, especially right now. It makes a lot of sense. Algorand does a good job. Their wallets do a good job. Those guys at Lofty AI, which I don't know, I don't think Kyle knows them, but we appreciate what they've done. We're not investing or endorsing them, but it is an interesting platform. People often come to us and they look at the NFT, and a lot of realtors often think of, all right, let's start tokenizing real estate, which has been going on in the commercial space forever. when you tokenize residential real estate, you get into some weird SEC, some kind of regulations that we don't get involved in. But it really is interesting to spend $50 and own a piece of that. And I don't know if you saw, Kyle, they're doing a vote. Also, when you're on Lofty AI, if you own enough shares, you get a vote, almost like a DAO, in terms of how they're handling things, which I think is unbelievably transparent.
Yep. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, and part of the reason why I jumped on that and invested, I ended up investing in 2 different properties and had several friends invest in a few other ones, but mainly to go through the process and, do it myself. Yeah. And it was more of a learning experience. So I still have my 2 investments in those 2 properties, and, I haven't checked my rent, profit yet, but, like you said, it's not going to make you rich, but, consider it a learning process, right? Anything you can do, jump in, especially that has to do with real estate and crypto, and learn as much as you can about it.
So let me wrap up. These are always 30 minutes, and the team always gets annoyed because I go over, but I love geeking out with you guys. I appreciate you guys having on. Matt, I'll go with you. Anybody here in Phoenix that's wanting to buy or sell or come by this awesome office. By the way, guys, we're at the EXP office in Phoenix, Chandler, Arizona. My big claim to fame is I've been in and out of at least 10,000 real estate offices in all 50 states. This by far is a top 10. It's got a bar, it's got a restaurant, it's got a real estate school, it's got a place for bands. Did I mention it has a bar? Unbelievable fellowship. We were here yesterday. I've been here several times, but every time here, agents are hanging out, they're talking. I was working over here a little bit, and I heard a brand new agent asking what I would assume to be a seasoned agent, what they should do with their buyer, because their buyer just couldn't find a house. And it was nice to be able to see fellowship. I think we're kind of a tribal group, human beings in general, and EXP in this office in particular is just doing a really good job in Phoenix. There are a lot of strong brokerages here, but this office is just killer. So to the team, Matt, thanks for having us here. This is his home office. He invited us down. But Matt, if I'm in Phoenix, I'm in the Valley, East Valley specifically, I'm looking to buy or sell, how do I find you?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on Matt Linder. That's MATTLINDER.work. All my info is on there. That's probably the easiest way. Email, phone, message me, all my social media. So yeah, feel free to reach out there.
If they're qualified and ready to buy, you'll be fine, right? They'll find you and you'll get back to them right away.
Absolutely.
Kyle, same for you. If I'm wanting to buy a house, if I'm wanting to sell, if I'm needing investment advice, if I'm wanting to buy a crypto punk slightly used from you, how do I find you, and what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yep. So phone number 623-570-5953. 623-570-5953. My phone number is, it's actually, my Twitter handle is 570 Kyle. So you can find me on there. Mainly my Twitter stuff is all NFTs for the most part. But 570 Kyle is my phone number too. So my website is kylekellerteam.com. So, and no, I am not Gary Keller's son.
Should just let it hang. People thought it would be. Yeah, I like how your Twitter is all NFTs about cyberpunks and Bored Apes and Never Your Family. Is that what you're saying? Just all NFTs all the time?
For the most part, yeah.
Well, listen, hey guys, I appreciate you coming on board. I appreciate you having us here in Phoenix. I love it down here, especially in February. Not so much in June or July, but thanks for having us. It was good seeing both of you guys, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it.